Start recording. All right, everyone. Well, thank you all for tuning in so much. I really appreciate it. I just want to read what we have on the screen here. Welcome. We are excited to be collaborating and learning with you today. This workshop does seek to be both a safe and brave space for all backgrounds. So definitely, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. I definitely want this to be interactive. So if there's anything that's confusing, you don't understand, please put it in the chat. Definitely our team can respond or I can respond during the presentation. But we want you to feel welcomed and included. So definitely try to engage, take part. But before I start, I just want to take a quick poll. How many of you have attended a career fair before? I'm curious. Okay. So most of you have attended a career fair before. So some of the content that I talk about in the beginning might be a little bit of a review, refresher, but this virtual world of networking and recruitment might be a little bit new to all of us. So there will be some different things that you'll glean from today's workshop, I hope. And for those of you that have never attended a career fair before, welcome. I hope that you do take a lot of good tips from today's workshop and learn a lot. Awesome. So majority of us have attended a career fair before. So thank you all for having attended that before. You definitely will be excited to see what Handshake has to offer with their career fair platform. Fantastic. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. So my name is Rayleigh Rito. I'm the Assistant Director of Career Development here at the CCD. I just celebrated my 1-year anniversary with the team, so it's been an awesome journey, and I'm excited to present on our new career fair that we're going to be having through Handshake. Caitlin and our employer relations team has really done a great job organizing this for you guys, and our rest of our team definitely is excited to share this with all of you, and we want to make sure that you're prepared and equipped and know exactly how to navigate the fair. And so, review of our office and what we focus on in our mission and vision. We are here to educate you on your knowledge of self, your career options and resources. We want to connect you with opportunities through the Global Rights Network, which is why we have amazing events like this career fair. And then we want to empower you with the confidence and skills and tools to achieve lifelong career fulfillment. So that's really what we're about here at the CCD, making sure that you feel equipped for your career development. And so hopefully with this fair, you'll be getting some awesome opportunities that you can engage in. And so some of the objectives for our session today, gaining some tips and tricks to stand out to these employers in a virtual fashion, right? Understanding this new format for our 2020 Virtual Fall Career and Internship Expo, which is on September 15th. Recognize how to optimize your Handshake profile. So that's really integral for this fair this semester, knowing how to make sure that you're standing out to employers with your Handshake profile, and then also a strategy for how to engage and make a really positive first impression. So we're going to cover all of that in an hour today. So why attend a career fair? Well, a few things, right? You want to educate yourself on what's out there. So there's many opportunities. We have, hundreds of jobs posted a day in Handshake. And so there's many opportunities out there for you all in terms of internship and full-time ops in different fields and industries. So if anything, if this is your first time, if you're a first-year student, second-year student, or maybe upperclassmen, if this is your first time attending a fair, time to explore, right? Learning who's recruiting here at Rice, what opportunities are out there right now, even during this time with the pandemic, who's recruiting. It's definitely a neat time to explore. Connecting, building relationships and networking, very important part of the job search process. So you'll be getting to connect with employers to learn different job functions and organizations there, learning the characteristics to lead success in your field of interest. And then empowering yourself, right? So for some people, it's all about practicing, knowing how to make a positive first impression, how that elevator pitch should work, how should I introduce myself. So getting that practice, going to a career fair can really help build that skill and refine that skill. And then the benefits of a virtual fair. So this is a new, thing that we're engaging with, but a virtual fair has many benefits, right? It's the convenience and flexibility, so you can tune in from your home, from your dorm room, wherever you're tuning in from right now. And so there's no travel involved. More private interaction for sure, no waiting in lines. And then it's a rice centric event. So you know that these employers are here for you. They're looking for rice talent. They want to meet you as a student, get to know you a little bit better, know your interests, your skills, your strengths. So there are a lot of benefits in tuning in on the 15th. If anything, with the exploration piece, but also just the value that you're getting online, I think is a great benefit. And so now I want to go into, how do I prepare prior to the fair? What are some things I need to be mindful of, even in a virtual world? So this applies for both an in-person fair and a virtual fair. So what I want to show you guys is this quick video from Handshake discussing their virtual career fair and how to prepare and what the platform's actually going to look like. So I'm going to go ahead and click play, and hopefully you guys can hear the video.
Handshake is the number one place where students find jobs and get hired. We've developed a way for you to attend career fairs virtually so you can meet interesting companies looking to hire students like you. Here's an overview of how it works. In Handshake, to locate virtual fairs, you can click on Events from your homepage, or you can click on Events from the top menu bar on any page in Handshake. On the Events page, you'll see a list of events and fairs that are upcoming at your school. You can use the filters at the top of the page to narrow down the displayed list of results. To identify virtual events and fairs, click on Virtual. If you see an event or fair that you'd like to save for later, you can click the icon for the bookmark to the right of the fair name. To navigate to these at a later time, you can click on the Saved filter. If you're ready to register for an event or fair, click on the title of the fair. In the upper right corner, you'll see the button to register. You'll see a pop-up appear on your screen that provides an overview of the fair on Handshake, with a reminder to mark your calendar and sign up for sessions. Click Register once again to proceed with registration. Now that I've registered for this fair, we'll see 3 tabs appear under the fair information: Available Sessions, Your Sessions, and Career Fair Details. On the Details page, you'll have more information provided about the fair from your school, the contact, employers that are attending so far, and other schools that may be attending the fair as well. The Available Sessions tab will show you a list of employers that are approved at this fair. You can use the filters at the top of the page to narrow down the displayed list using keyword search, location, job type, or click on all filters for more filter options, including work authorization, industry, job type, employment type, or preferred major. As a reminder, group sessions will include multiple students and are 30 minutes long each. One-to-one sessions are each 10 minutes long and are a one-on-one session between you and the employer representative. When you're ready to sign up for a session, simply click on the session name. You'll be able to see an overview of the company, and you can confirm that group session attendance. You'll see a confirmation appear in the lower right corner, and now that session appears on the right of the page under Your Sessions. If you'd like to sign up for one-on-one sessions, you'll see that some sessions may have a red dot to the right. That indicates that this time frame is already booked on your schedule, so you will not be able to schedule these times unless you cancel the other session that you're attending. And now I've registered for a one-on-one session, and we can see that appear on the right side in my schedule. The Your Sessions tab will provide an overview of sessions that you've RSVP'd for and provide some tips for how to stand out at a virtual career fair. If at any point you'd need to cancel your session attendance, simply click on RSVP'd here, and you can cancel the reservation by clicking Cancel Reservation. You'll receive a prompt to confirm that you do want to cancel. You can choose at this point to cancel the session or to keep the session. If you cancel that session, you'll see that is now open and a confirmation that you have been unregistered from that session. A helpful tool is the Show Open Sessions option. You can see that the duration is for the full length of this virtual career fair. If I select Show Open Sessions, I'll be taken back to this screen with the employers that are listed, and I can choose to sign up for more sessions throughout this virtual career fair. On the day of the virtual fair, you'll be able to join these sessions via audio and video. Video is optional. You are able to join up to 10 minutes early per session to test your audio and video connection. As a best practice, we do recommend showing up on time and prepared for the interaction. For more information on attending a virtual fair, please see the linked article right above this video in our Help Center.
All right, so brief
Handshake
overview.
is the
Oops. Brief overview, right? So the day of the fair, you'll be able to join sessions via the Your Sessions tab in the fair. So after today's presentation, definitely go into Handshake and you'll be able to see the events tab. I'm actually going to go into Handshake in a second. And then you'll navigate to that Your Sessions tab. You'll click the blue launch video when you're ready to start engaging with that employer. And then you can join up to 5 minutes early to test your audio and video connection before you get on. So, brief overview of just how the fair is going to look virtually and how you can engage. But right now, I want to show you guys how to optimize your Handshake profile. So I'm going to stop screen share. Stop screen share, and I'm going to go into Handshake. Let me go ahead and minimize this. All right, so now we are at Handshake. So prior to the fair, some things to be mindful of. First, making sure that your Handshake profile is optimized, right, and ready to go. So a couple things to be mindful of. So you wanna make sure you have a nice headshot. If you don't have one, you can use your personal cell phone or camera. As long as you're against a plain background in professional attire, that's good to go. You wanna make sure that this is updated as well. Using the edit tool here, you can update a month and year and your classification, so make sure that's accurate. For this section here, the about, my journey, just have like a brief paragraph overview about who you are as a student, right? What makes you you? For me, I just gave an overview of my skills. It's kind of fake here, what I wrote in terms of being an English major, but just figure out what it is that you want to highlight. Later in this session, I'll talk about crafting that elevator pitch, but you want to have some kind of introduction here to talk about who you are as a student. The education section, this is already going to be loaded, but just make sure that that's correct. And then go ahead and make sure that your experiences are updated. You can just copy and paste from your resume, or if you've uploaded your resume into Handshake, this will auto-populate. But make sure that this is updated by your action verbs, using your experiences, quantifying things. Just make sure that this is well written to highlight your skills that you're marketing to employers. You can fill out organizations and extracurricular activities, courses, projects, and skills, and then your personal information as well. The goal, again, is to have your profile be 100% complete. so that if that employer wants to review your profile, they have a great snapshot of who you are. And then in preparation for the fair as well, you want to go to manage documents here in your profile and make sure to set it as visible so that that employer can see your resume, and that also we can add it in addition to our resume book so that employers will be able to review your resume and see it in the Handshake platform. So you want to make sure, again, go through Handshake, go to your profile, make sure that this is updated, very important, before engaging at the career fair. And I want to stop share. I want to see if I have any questions so far.
Really, I got a question
Yeah.
privately asking if they should attend the career fair as a freshman. And I was typing out a response, but I think your response would be great too.
Thank you, Kaylin. Yeah, I think that is an excellent question. So as a first year student, this is your time to explore, right? So figuring out what your likes are, what your interests are, what do you want to do professionally, right? It's what or what maybe you don't want to do, right? So going to a career fair is a time to network, talk to employers, learn about what opportunities they're recruiting for, what suggestions they might have for you in terms of your career development. You can also just get a sense of, become comfortable with networking, attending a career fair for later, hopefully in the spring when we can do an in-person session. So yes, so it's very beneficial as a first year student to attend. So if anything, right, if you aren't able to secure an opportunity this year, you'll at least be prepared the following year. So it's definitely very important to try and attend. Awesome. Let me go back to.
I have a question as well.
Yes. Yes.
Does the career fair cater more towards full-time employment, or is it internships, or is it a mixture of both?
Mixture of both. So you'll see both internships and full-time opportunities. We do have a hiring timeline on our website. I definitely can have that added to the chat. But usually, the fall semester we'll see a certain types of industries, and spring will be a little bit different. But they're always going to be recruiting for either full-time or internship opportunities, and you'll be able to see that overview in Handshake itself of what they're recruiting for. Great question, Shiloh. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen again. Back to thank you guys for the great questions so far. So other things to prepare and consider. So I would suggest doing your research beforehand. So learning about some of the employers that are going to be coming, maybe their products and services that they offer, maybe the history and organizational culture that they might have, the mission and goals of that employer, maybe the structure, or just location, right? Just get some general information so you go into the fair at least having an idea of what they do, so you can ask more targeted questions instead of what jobs do you have, right? Maybe something about their approach in response to COVID-19, or maybe they do a lot of community service, right? Whatever it is that you're curious about, try to go to their website, or at least in Handshake, read their overview, kind of their little bio summary, to get a better sense of what it is that they do. And you can do this research, right, on their website. You can look at news articles. You can use social media, right, Twitter, even Instagram, right, to figure out what they've been up to. Maybe any news articles and reports. Vault, which is a resource in Handshake, that's also a helpful tool. So just try to engage and figure out what it is that these companies are about and employers are up to, so that you can be better informed by the time you're engaging in the fair. And other importance of research, right? You want to have some kind of strategy going in, so you're impressing that employer, right? It's impressive when you've done your research and you know a little bit about what we do. It demonstrates the knowledge and interest. It increases your ability, again, to ask some insightful and strategic questions. And then it improves the chances of making the best choice for you, right? So maybe the location isn't what where you'd want to be in the future, or maybe the opportunities aren't what you thought, or the company culture doesn't really align with your values and what you want to do professionally. So that's the importance of doing your research before going into a career fair. So definitely step one, outside of optimizing that Handshake profile and updating your resume, want to make sure that you're doing your research ahead of a career fair. And then in terms of environment for a virtual fair, check your internet connectivity. So you want to make sure that that's good to go. Find a nice quiet space where you're connected. No distracting background. So with the Handshake platform, you won't be able to change your background as you would in Zoom. So try to find a space that's not distracting, quiet, and not so busy so that it's just you and that employer. Have your resume available. So if you have a way to print that resume, great. If you have it on your desktop, great. Definitely make sure it's uploaded in your Handshake profile, but have it to reference in case there's something you want to talk about or mention. You have it there ready to go. And then update your resume. So we do have an event this Friday, Resume Hand, that I definitely encourage all of you to check out. Or you can always come to our drop-in appointments or schedule a one-on-one resume appointment with a counselor to have it updated and reviewed, just so that it's, you're marketing your skills well and are ready to go for the fair. Maybe have a notepad to take notes. Maybe during some of these sessions, employers are mentioning things about their opportunities or the culture that interests you that you want to follow back up on. So maybe have something to take notes, a slight journal, maybe have a space for questions that you want to jot down and have ready and prepared for those employers. So having something like that would be really good in preparation for the fair. Have water. I have my water here. Have water, space to stretch in between sessions, just so that you're keeping active. Because if you are sitting, I know some of you might have Zoom fatigue with all your classes, but you want to keep moving and be energized so that you have good energy when you're talking to these employers. And then dress professionally. So here's some examples of networking attire. So we definitely want to avoid casual attire. So no pajamas. You want to come at least, if you don't have a blazer, just a nice professional top, because the goal again is showing a nice professional persona. You want to make sure that you're representing yourself best. And so having some kind of business professional attire is going to really impress that employer, show them that you're prepared, that you're serious. And it's just going to start off the conversation right. So try to have some kind of nice attire for the fair. And then practicing your pitch. So earlier I mentioned for your Handshake bio, but also when you're talking to those employers over video chat or in those one-on-one sessions, you want to have an idea of how you want to introduce yourself. And so before we dive in, I want you guys to take a moment and answer some of the questions here. You can jot it down in a notebook, or if you want to type it up somewhere, but just think about some of these things. At work or in class, what have I always been recognized for? What are my short-term personal goals and aspirations? What am I very knowledgeable about? If I had to clone myself, what are 2 to 3 professional skills I would look to ensure that my clone had? What are 2 to 3 things I find easy to do and I know I do them well? And then what am I passionate about? And these elements are things that you can include when you're introducing yourself to employers. A lot of times students, if we're talking about interviewing and that employer says, tell me about yourself, a lot of people kind of have to get that deer in the headlights look. They don't know what to say. And so if you've kind of prepared ahead of time to think about what are some of the strengths that I want to highlight, what are my skills, what are my hobbies, what are my experiences that I want to talk about with that employer, if you've prepared ahead, you'll be ready to go and feel more confident. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes to think about your answers to some of these questions. While you guys are brainstorming, do I have any questions in the chat?
I've been answering some as we go along. One really great one that I got was just about updating your profile, and if someone at the CCD would be willing to take a look. Absolutely. If you update your profile this week, you can email anyone on this call, and we'd love to take a look. The easiest way is just to email ccd@rice.edu. Shelly's on the call, and she manages that email, and she'll forward it to one of us, and we can check it out.
Yes, yes, yes. We definitely are here to help, guys. You are not in this alone, for sure.
I had a question.
Yes. Hi, Neil.
Hi. I was wondering, does the CCD offer kind of like mock interview sessions?
We do. So in Handshake, under appointments, you can see all of our appointment options, and we have a 1-hour mock interview session. So you can practice one-on-one with a counselor, and we have questions prepared, and we, definitely let us know beforehand what that interview is going to be for, if it's for med school, if it's for an internship, if it's for a part-time job, whatever it might be. And we can have some questions prepared and help you in that process and give you some feedback real time. And we're doing all of that over virtual appointments. So it could be Zoom, Google Meet, it could be even a phone appointment. So whatever works best for you, we're here to help you and meet you there. Great question.
Awesome,
Rayleigh,
thank
I
you.
have one more
Yes.
from Stephen. When the infamous "tell me about yourself" question arises, is it better to discuss one's professional side or personal side, or both?
Ooh, that's an awesome question. I think it depends on what you think, Stephen, your brand is, right? Who is Stephen, right? If you want to talk about the personal side, you have to be cautious there. What are we sharing, right? I would say probably things that you feel make you unique, that you think are interesting. Maybe you do ultimate frisbee on the side, and that's something that you really enjoy. Or maybe you do horseback riding, or maybe you have a passion project that you're working on. Definitely, yeah, include that. But you also want to make sure that you're highlighting things that are relevant to that employer based on your research. So maybe that employer has a neat internship that you have some related skills towards. Like maybe you have done a project in class that's related to what that company or employer is doing. Or maybe you've done an internship that's related. You definitely would want to highlight that experience in your pitch. So I would say a little bit of both might be a good sweet spot, but practice it and see what comes best for you. Awesome question.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah. All right, so now, I gave you guys some time to look at these questions. So building the pitch. So here's an example. So a pitch doesn't have to be so cookie cutter. So remember, it is a conversation. So you don't have to, start off with this giant speech about who you are. I mean, let it flow, but it's good to at least prepare the elements of it, right? How, what is the hook? What are your goals and aspirations? What's the experience you're going to talk about? And then how are you going to close that introduction? So you can give it all as a pitch, or you can at least just think about, what are the different elements that I'm going to use to introduce myself? So you'll see here with the hook, we talk about, who are you? What makes you unique? So Sammy Owl decided to start off with their name, their current degree at Rice, and their reason for being at the event, right? Then they talk about their goals and aspirations. Through their research, they believe a future position as a software engineer best aligns with their skills and interests. Then they talk about a described experience. So through their role as a peer career advisor, which if y'all don't know what that is, that's our awesome student leaders and mentors and ambassadors for the CCD. So if you're interested in that opportunity, check it out. But he is a peer career advisor, and he has served as both a leader and mentor among his peers, and he talks about the different skills. So from the previous questions that I showed you guys, you could add some of those elements. So he could talk about what he's most knowledgeable about, what he feels that he's good at, what he's passionate about. He could include that in that described experience. And then he closes with a question, right? So a targeted question based on that research. So he reviewed the company website and noticed that there's a strong focus on mentorship. Could you tell me a little bit more about how insert employer focuses on mentorship for new interns? So it's very targeted and tailored to that employer, right? So that's a really good, well-formed pitch, something that's targeted, practiced, has a nice experience, talks about skills. That's how you really want to answer that "tell me about yourself" question. So I see there's 47 participants in the chat. And so I want to give you guys some time to practice your pitch. So what I want to do is I'm going to open up some breakout rooms here. Yes, I'm going to open up some breakout rooms. Oops. Okay. And I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes to practice with someone on this call your pitch. So based on what we've discussed, right, the hook, aspirations, described experience, and closer, how are you going to introduce yourself? So we're going to take a couple minutes to do that, and then I'll close the breakout rooms and we'll come back to the chat. Let me just do some editing here. 1 second. All right, let me go ahead and open all the groups. Start recording again.
I have a few really great questions, Rayleigh.
Yeah.
I'll wait until everybody gets back, I think.
All right, still got 2 people. All right. Welcome back, guys. Thank you all for humoring me and practicing your pitch. I hope that was helpful just to get a little bit of practice and think about how you would introduce yourself to someone you haven't met before. Caitlin did have some questions, so I'll open that now.
So, a question from Thomas. For the interview itself, what's the hardest question you personally tend to come across, and what tips or tricks might you have to answer it? Or is there any advice you might give for challenging questions that don't normally get asked during the interview?
Ooh, good question. So the one that people most trip up on is that tell me about yourself, because they haven't prepared. They don't know how to start that conversation. So what is it about myself that I need to phrase? So that's why I think practicing your pitch is a good way to prepare. Another thing is strengths and weaknesses. That's a common one that a lot of people don't prepare for, especially weaknesses. You want to make sure that if you're talking about a weakness, it's not something that's one, integral to that job, 2, something that definitely shows a red flag, and 3, something that you're not working on, right? So you want to make sure that you're talking about something that's relevant, that you can work on, that just shows an area of growth for that employer. And then if there's a question that you're unsure of how to answer, I believe that's what the question was. If you're unsure of how to answer, give some time to think about it. Let them know that you're thinking, like say, that's a great question. Pause, think, and then give the best answer that you can. It's better than not answering at all. So have something to say. Hopefully you've done your research on that employer again. You have a little bit of insight, but just answer to the best of your ability. That would be my best advice. And then practice with us, of course. Awesome, awesome. Let me go ahead and share my screen. I know we're almost down to the end here, and I want to make sure I give some time for questions. This is the most important part right during the fair. All right, so this is what it's going to look like, guys, in the fair for the expo. So in Handshake, you will be able to view the person on the other end if it's going to be that one-on-one and if it's the group session. So there's 2 types of sessions that you can engage in, as the videos talked about earlier. So there's the information virtual group session that you can sign up for. Those are 30 minutes long. They have a capacity for 50 students. You want to make sure that you arrive early to ensure your spot, and then you will be muted upon entrance, but make sure, to not unmute unless the host allows, right? And then those one-on-one sessions is going to look much like I have in the sample here. These are going to be 10-minute meetings with recruiters. It's going to be, like I said, 10 minutes. You'll have time to give that elevator pitch, and then you want to make sure you're dressed to impress, have that business attire. And I was reminded too, we do have 2 organizations, great organizations that we work with, Career Gear and Dress for Success. And you can schedule that appointment in Handshake with our awesome counselor, Marilyn Wade, and she can walk you through the process for how to get professional attire through those organizations. I think a session like an event like the Career Expo is something that they definitely would support, and they will give you everything that you need, from attire to jewelry, everything that you need for a fair completely for free. So that's definitely something you guys can engage in and benefit from. It's called Career Gear or Dress for Success, and they provide students with professional attire. So that's going to be the session options. All the sessions will also have the ability for video chat, as you see here, and audio and text-based chat. So just make sure, be mindful of your online presence. Like I said, make sure you have a plain background, good connection so that you can engage. So during the fair, things to do: arrive early. So timing is very, very, very important for this fair. You want to make sure that you're on time, because if you are late, you may not be able to join sessions, especially those group sessions. The one-on-one you will be able to join, but it doesn't look good if you're arriving late. So make sure that you're on time for the session that you've scheduled. Take initiative to talk. So if there is an opportunity, there's a button feature in the group session to raise your hand and ask questions. So if you have a question, make sure to ask that in the chat. Try to stand out. Ask good questions. So good questions come from questions that have been researched. You've learned about the company. You want to ask them more things about their culture, what they do. So ask good questions. Be patient. So wait your turn, especially if it's a group session. There might be a lot of students on that call. So just wait your turn. And then you can ask them for their contact info and thank them for their time so that you can follow up about any other future opportunities. And then don't do this. So you will have the chat option. So with that, we want to avoid informal messaging. So no LOLs, no SMHs, no emojis. We want to keep it as professional as possible, just as if you were writing a professional email, professional message. You want to maintain that professional presence. No interrupting other attendees. So like I said, be patient, wait your turn to ask a question. Monopolizing the recruiter's time. You actually won't be able to do that in this, especially if it's a one-on-one, because you only have 10 minutes. So you want to make sure that you get your questions in during that time, and don't come on the call in your pajamas, right? You want to make sure you're giving a great first impression. So make sure you're not in your bed, be somewhere seated, maybe at a desk, a quiet space where you can just focus on that recruiter. And then 5 things to take away from the fair: the contact information of the recruiters, right? You want to make sure that if you can, have some way to follow up with them, thank them for their time. Notes about contacts you made. So like I said before, you still can have a notepad with you during the event. So try to take some notes so you can, follow back up, see which companies that you want to further pursue and learn how to apply to some of their opportunities. Get some information again about the organizations, for the cover letter that you might need to write, definitely for a thank you note and for future conversations. You will take away a better sense of your career options. So that definitely some of you that are attending for the first time, it's a time to explore, right, and learn a little bit more. And then gain some confidence in interacting professionally. So this is a time, again, to practice, and learn a little bit more. And then after the fair, I would say try to send a thank you and follow up email to the people that you've connected with, or find them at least on LinkedIn and Sally Portal. Those are great tools for the job search. You can use those to find jobs, but also to network, especially Sally Portal. That is Rice by Rice networking. So if you don't have a profile on Sally Portal, definitely check that out. That is a great way to build relationships professionally and connect and learn more about opportunities. And one thing I forgot to mention about the fair that is really important with this virtual platform, you want to make sure that you're reducing the pop-up blocker in your platform. If you're using Chrome or Internet Explorer or Safari, you want to make sure your pop-up blocker is removed so that you will get that video pop-up when you're trying to join and launch. So that's very, very important. Make sure you adjust that so that you get the video to pop up. And all right, so I have about a few minutes left, so now I can take some questions. Any questions from the audience that I can take?
Rayleigh, I know that Neil had a question, and then I wanted to answer a couple as well.
Sure.
So Neil, is he still on the call?
I am, yeah.
Hi.
So I had 2 questions. One was, so for the group sessions, do you want to be someone who talks a lot in those group sessions, or do you want to kind of share your time amongst like the other applicants?
I think, well, first of all, it would depend on the host and how they have that session going, because they will have some time where they're probably doing a presentation, like a general info session for you to know a little bit more about what they do. So I don't know if they'll have, most of them might have that, raise your hand feature in that group session to allow you to speak up. But I would say be patient, give others a chance to talk, but do ask some targeted questions to set yourself apart. And you can do that in the chat or through the raise your hand feature.
Okay, and then the other question I had is, what is Sally Portal and how is it different from LinkedIn?
Awesome question. So sallyportal.org. So if you were to go there, the website, that is again Rice by Rice networking. So different in that it's Rice centric. So there are, I think, over 7,000 users on there, and 5,000 plus of them are Rice alumni. So it's a great one-stop shop to network. You can go to the directory in Sally Portal. You can search by keyword, or you can use their preset filters for industry or the college they were in at Rice. And you can connect and just message them through the platform and ask them for their time to learn a little bit more about their career path.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, no problem, Neil.
I had a question also about the importance of Sally Portal versus LinkedIn versus Handshake. And what I would recommend for the virtual fair is focus on Handshake first, because since it's being hosted there, employers are looking at your Handshake profile. And then I would say update your LinkedIn as well. You can cross promote content on both of those platforms. Recruiters aren't going to contact you on Sally Portal at this moment, but they might in the future because that's for alums. So maybe put that in the third spot of importance right now. And then I have a lot of questions about group sessions versus one-on-one sessions at Expo. So I'm actually going to type a link in the chat here. If you go to our website at any time before Expo, it's on the alert banner. So you can just click on that, super easy, and it's going to have all of this information. But essentially, you can attend 2 types of sessions at Expo, the one-on-ones. These are 10 minutes, and they do have qualifiers. So if a company is looking for a computer science major specifically, you may not be able to sign up for that if you're an English student. However, we're encouraging employers to be broad because we prefer exploration and we believe that you have the skills to do a lot of different jobs. So just be aware of that. You can start signing up for those one-on-ones now, but the closer we get to Expo, the more sessions there will be. So someone said there's not any sessions with the company I'm interested in. Just go ahead and follow the company you're interested in Handshake, and you'll get an alert if they add more sessions so that you'll be the first one to see that and go ahead and sign up. The other type of session is a group session. Those are 30 minutes and they have 50 people. But if you're number 51, you're actually not going to be able to attend the way that Handshake has set it up. So be on time for that. You don't have to remember all this. It's on the link that I sent, but a lot of people had questions about kind of the difference. And Rayleigh's given so much good information about how to stand out in those big group sessions. But just be aware that a one-on-one session, it's literally going to be you gigantic on the screen and the employer gigantic on the screen. We tested it out a couple days ago, and make sure you're on your game for that. And we can definitely help you practice and get your resume ready.
Awesome, awesome questions.
May I ask one last question?
Yeah, Shyla.
For Handshake and the positions that the employer is hiring for, does it provide that information? Let's say it's a company and they're looking for a computer sciences. Will they tell us that and, about the position, like the description, so that we know, so that essentially we're saving their time and our time?
Yes, that is going to be posted on the page. So you can either go to the jobs tab and see what they have to offer. You can go to the employer page and see what they have to offer, or you can go down into the events page where they have the full listing of employers and you can see what they have to offer. So there's many ways to filter by whatever category or keyword that you're looking for to see what opportunities are available.
Thank you.
Yes, great question. And guys,
Can I ask a,
yes.
can I ask a question? So in the past, I've written up like a list of questions that I don't like read out to all to the employers, but like I just have them to like refresh myself while I'm at the fair and everything's super chaotic and stuff. And they're like semi-memorized. Would it still be good to do that, or is it because I have like I technically have like space on my desk and on my computer? What would like?
I think preparation is great. So if you have those questions in a notepad or on a separate sheet ready to go and you have it tailored for each employer, I think it's better to have it to reference than nothing at all. And if they answer that question in the info session or earlier in your conversation, You can strike that question off and maybe look down your list and see what's left.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit easier to crutch on those when you're virtual than in person.
Yeah, there are benefits with this virtual fair, right? You can have your cheat
Mm.
sheet, you can have your notes, right, and be ready to go. So, and the same applies for virtual interviews too. I think having a printout of your resume, having your notes, your follow-up questions, that's all there to reference. As long as you're not, like I am right now, reading the text. As long as you're maintaining some good eye contact, looking at that webcam, right, to show that you're maintaining eye contact, that's good to do.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome question, Matthew. And in the chat, guys, I'm going to put a link to a survey. If you guys can fill that out to us, I meant to send that to everyone. If you can fill that out, just let us know how the session was today before you pop off. I know some people are leaving, but feel free to stay on. Just let us know how the session was today.
We have one question for graduate students specifically.
Yes.
Is this career fair for graduate students? If yes, then as a graduate student, do you have the option to work full-time or part-time or apply for an internship? And what would be the main focus to put on your resume?
Ooh, oh, good question. So definitely look at, so like I said before, you can review who's attending, right, and what they're recruiting for. It is open to everyone. So MBA, graduate, undergrad, anyone can attend. But you can look ahead of time to see what employers are recruiting for, and then based on the opportunities they have, that could be a good way to determine, right, what to include in your resume, what to stand out. As a graduate student, you're coming in with a lot of analytical skills. Maybe you have prior work experience, prior internship experience, maybe research projects that you want to highlight. So consider, what are your strengths? What are you trying to market to that employer? And that's how you can determine placement on that document. But definitely the event we have on Friday, Resume Hems, our drop-ins, our one-on-one resume appointments. I will have later sessions for graduate students this semester, talking about how to market your skills and abilities. So you definitely can check that out. But there's many ways that you can prepare to get your resume reviewed.
I have one question.
Hi, Thomas.
So I'm one of the incoming grad students, but I have previous degrees elsewhere. But I'm still in the exploration phase. So what advice might you give in the way of the process of elimination, like what employers I probably should be targeting, even though I don't really have a particular one in mind at this exact stage of the game?
So what is your area, Thomas?
Well, several actually. So I was in the Navy for 4 years.